Yai die 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 die. Yai die 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 die. Yai die 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 die. Yai die die die.
מזה ימלל ניסה להתבונן בימי מתתיהו בן יוחנן אנוכי אשמח אסיס בדומי הגדיל לעשות עם בני חשמונאי רמו על רמים נגלה בסיני רכבו ריבותיי מאלפי שיני
Yai die 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 die. Yai die 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 die. Yai die die die.
The most vivid of the symbols, the lighting of the Chanukah candles. This, of course, translates the rabbinic legend of the vessel of oil that lasted for 8 days into a very concrete ritual. So you light the Chanukah menorah and you sing some songs. The Chanukah menorah is not meant to give you light to read by. This is a way of announcing the miracle. People should know that Jews are celebrating a moment of divine love. And so you exhibit the Chanukah menorah. Well, that halachic requirement that you're not supposed to use it for reading, but simply to announce the miracle, that was turned into a song. So we sing Haneru Talalu. So before Ma'oz Tzur, we sing Haneru Talalu. These lights are sacred, and we're not supposed to use them to read by.
Yaba bim bum 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 hanerot alalu anachnu madlikin al hanisim ve'al haniflaot ve'al hamilchamot she'asita lavoteinu bayamim ohem bazman hazeh ayedei kohanecha kohanecha hakedoshim ve'choshmonat yemei Chanukah ve'choshmonat yemei Chanukah hanerot halalu hanerot halalu kodeshem ve'en lanu reshut להשתמש בהם אלא לראותם בלבד כדי להודות ולהלל לשמך הגדול הניסיך והנפלאותיך ועל ישועתך יבא bim bum 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 yaba bim bum 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 yaba bim bum bim bum bim bum bim bum bim bum bim bum bim.
What we have done here is to take a legal requirement and turned it into a moment of family joy. And the music transcends the specificity of the law. The music is a chance to create a vessel into which you can pour different feelings, new emotions. And that's the way ritual expands. And the menorah becomes, in antiquity, the most striking symbol of Jewishness. You find the menorah on many sarcophagi. These are coffins, stone coffins with artwork. And the menorah is there. And whenever you see a menorah on a stone coffin, you know that there was a Jew buried. When Titus destroys the temple, The menorah has branches and probably stands for the tree of life, which is a symbol of divine presence and divine love.
The Bowling Green Menorah stands on sacred ground for many different reasons. One is a mythic moment in America's quest for freedom and independence long ago that took place on the evening of July 9th, 1776, on the exact spot where the Bowling Green Menorah stands each Hanukkah. It reflects perfectly the Maccabees retaking the temple in Jerusalem and lighting the candles of the temple menorah. On July 9, 1776, a messenger arrived from Philadelphia with a copy of the Declaration of Independence signed July 4, 1776. General Washington had positioned his troops in New York City after the British temporarily evacuated the city and in anticipation of the Declaration of Independence. General Washington ordered the reading of the Declaration up and down Broadway to his troops and the citizens of New York City. At this time, the most hated symbol of British occupation throughout the 13 colonies was a gold-gilded equestrian statue of King George III the British had erected in the center of Bowling Green in 1770. Almost immediately, the rebellious New York colonists began vandalizing the statue. And the following year, 1771, the British built a wrought iron fence to surround the park, which stands to this very day to protect the statue and close the park off from the colonists. This is as it remained until the evening of July 9, 1776, and to declare their freedom and celebrate independence, the colonists marched into the park, placed ropes around the statue of George III, and smashed the symbol of their repression to the ground, where it shattered into pieces. Later parts of this lead-based statue were melted down into musket shot and fired against the British troops during the Revolutionary War. A truly unique American tribute to the victory of the Maccabees, placing the Hanukkah menorah in this exact place in Bowling Green Park. This is the story of Hanukkah at Bowling Green in December 2015, as told in this documentary video. I am Arthur Piccolo, Chairman, Bowling Green Association, your guide, and my goal is no less than to convince you there is no place in America more important to, nor better than Bowling Green in Lower Manhattan to celebrate Hanukkah each year and every year, from now on, ever more ambitiously each year. Using one modest video camera and one photo camera, a desktop computer, and the involvement of many, I hope to prove that Hanukkah 2016 deserves to and will be far more ambitious and worthy to be so. An 8-night festival that will draw interest far and wide, locally and globally, and yes, that has a rather rare and unusual place on the calendar in 2016. Hanukkah begins and ends on 2 days with additional meaning in 2016. Hanukkah 2016 will begin on the evening of December 24th, also Christmas Eve, and not end until the following year on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2017. So another distinction for Hanukkah 2016. This is in the larger historic context of Hanukkah itself. In this context, I utilize wonderful excerpts from a classic audio broadcast about Hanukkah titled A Great Miracle Happened There with Rabbi Izmir Schwartz and some notable music from that program. So why is Bowling Green so special at and for Hanukkah? The tip of Manhattan Island, where Bowling Green Park stands today, back in the early 1600s, is where Europeans first colonized New York as New Amsterdam and created by the Dutch West India Company as a trading center in these new lands. And they built the most prominent structure in New Amsterdam, the wooden Fort Amsterdam, right at the edge of what would become Bowling Green, overlooking the harbor. And in 1653, New Amsterdam became the first self-governing place in America with a common council that has existed ever since, now called New York City's Council. Still, back then, with the tyrannical Director General, the notorious Peter Stuyvesant, as this was before New York City had a mayor in charge. What happened next in September 1654 is the core of this story. 23 Jewish men, women, and children, a congregation of observant Jews led by Asser Levy, fleeing persecution in then Portuguese Brazil, booked passage on a sailing ship, the St. Charles, bound for Europe, making stops along the way, including lastly at the small but growing trading hub of New Amsterdam before crossing the Atlantic. There are no records of exactly what was on the mind of Asser Levy and the other Jews when they came ashore September 7th, 1654, and became the first Jews ever to set foot in North America as they stood at Bowling Green before the looming fort. What we do know is they decided not to continue on to Europe, but rather to stay here, make their lives here. And in doing so, they also celebrated the first Hanukkah in America in December 1654, so that both the entire Jewish experience in America and the very first Hanukkah in America begin at Bowling Green and date from 1654. It was not easy for Asser Levy and the others, not that it was easy for anyone in this small town surrounded by all kinds of challenges, but it was especially difficult for these pioneering Jews because Peter Stuyvesant made it very clear to Asser Levy and his group he did not want them to stay and settle in New Amsterdam. But they were resolved, and they did stay, with a little help from Jewish investors in the Dutch West India Company in New Amsterdam in Europe. And the first Jews in America prospered, and the Jewish community in America has grown and become ever more important ever since. This is the very short version of why Bowling Green is the most symbolic and important place in America to celebrate Hanukkah each year.
Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai.
I want to begin with the three words my parents would often recite when they arrived in this country, 1948. Thank you, America. Well, here we are years later to talk about years earlier, 1654. 23 Jews arrive in this country to celebrate the freedom of America, freedom that they had not tasted before. And where do they arrive? Right here, right? Bowling Green. There's the U.S. Customs House behind me. And this is a menorah. This represents the first Hanukkah, the first menorah that these Jews were able to celebrate in a free country. Hanukkah is the story of religious freedom. It's about the Maccabees, who in the year 167 BCE fought for religious freedom. And their battle was won, And we see the results of that battle in America today, when all of us can celebrate our respective traditions near one another without fear of one another. So I'm standing in front of a menorah. I'm standing behind a Christmas tree just down the street here. They coexist to show that we can be of different faiths, but we are one family in America. So let me say thank you. Thank you to Arthur Piccolo. Thank you to all the people who allow us to celebrate this special moment. And what makes it even more special is the fact that Arthur is Christian, a proud Christian, and he is saying to the Jews, I want you to be able to celebrate this holiday as it should be celebrated, in freedom, with dignity and decency. So it's a special moment, and I welcome everyone to come to Bowling Green, to see the menorah, to see this area, and to realize that your ancestors traveled here years ago from persecution to freedom. And we are reenacting that story by celebrating the first Chanukah that took place in 1654. Now we're celebrating the year 2015. Thank you, America.
Anochi esmach asis b'Adonai igdil asot im benecha shmona.
This is a great honor on behalf of the New York Board of Rabbis, the Bowling Green Association, and really the people of the city of New York to present the Israeli flag to you for this historic raising of the flag here in Bowling Green.
It's a great honor for us, for Israel, to be present today and to celebrate together the happy days of the Festival of Lights, Chanukah.
Okay.
And the second candle tonight. So we're very honored, very happy, and would like to thank all of you for this.
We're so happy to have you raise the Israeli flag here where the city was founded, and particularly the flagpoles stand where the American Revolution ended, when George Washington came here on November 25th, 1783 to watch the last British flag lowered in America, and the Stars and Stripes raised, which was in effect the official end of the American Revolution, took place right here, and we're proud that we're going to raise the flag.
Let me tell you.
I feel like I was there.
1654, a handful of Jews came. Miraculous that they were here, and here we are today. So that blessing we recite, God, we thank you for the miracles of old, then and now. So the fact that after all of these years, we are a thriving people says much about America and the indomitable spirit of the Jewish people. It's a great honor to have Deputy Consul General Sagi here, say a few words, then we'll light it. Father McGueeney of the Archdiocese, thank you so much. Judge Levine, Leslie, and Rachel from UNICEF US Fund, thank you. Dr. Gerson, thank you. Rabbi Gerson, her sister, thank you. Andrew Gross.
מתתיהו בן יוחנן, אנוכי אשמח אסיס בדומי, הגדיל לעשות עם בני חשמונאי. רמו על רמים נגלה בסיני, רכבו ריבותיי מאלפי שינה.
Michael Clayman, rabbi of the Lake Success Jewish Center in Lake Success, New York. And when I think about this magnificent and innovative Hanukkah menorah, I think about continuity. I think about the fact that the Maccabees were not only fighting for a temple, but they were fighting to preserve their past. And through liberating the temple, they not only built the future, but they enabled the link to remain strong from past to present. I stand here and I'm just in awe that we are at a place where in 1654, the first Jews escaping countries of oppression, coming here for political freedom, coming here for religious freedom, exactly what the Maccabees themselves were seeking for the people of Israel. We are standing in that very place, and we owe to the Maccabees back then, to the early Jewish settlers who came here and established a Jewish presence. We stand in their tradition. We stand here in their honor. And knowing that the Statue of Liberty is just in back of us, I'd like to dedicate this night to freedom-loving people all over the world. People who seek not only freedom, but seek an opportunity to live with respect, with the recognition that other people embracing their own religious traditions, we can disagree, and yet we can stand together and fight on behalf of peace. That is the message that I would offer tonight on this Hanukkah, that we as Jews continue to light our lights and be inspired by the light so that the darkness is never extinguished, and at the same time stand with all peace-loving people throughout the world to one day bring a true and genuine peace. I must also tell you that standing in Bowling Green, this magnificent historical park, is the place where everybody at some point during the year should come and should visit. We're standing in a place of history. We're standing where hundreds of years ago Jews stood, interacted with the community, were exposed to this wonderful country and this wonderful city. So if you have an opportunity anytime, summer, fall, or Hanukkah time, come to Bowling Green Park. This is really where history was made.
Very good stuff.
Chag Orim Sameach. Happy Hanukkah.
Another aspect of the mythology of Hanukkah at Bowling Green is the menorah itself, created 10 years ago in December 2005, which has been restored and used once again this year and will be for years to come. Back in 2005, Bowling Green Association erected an annual and very large Christmas tree just north of the interior of the park. That year I did not have an available menorah to erect for Hanukkah, and I did not want to buy or rent a typical menorah for this very special site. Just a week before Hanukkah, I casually mentioned my dilemma to the two Irish Catholic electricians who were doing the lighting of the big Christmas tree, Tom Cummings and Andy Carson. And completely to my surprise, they responded they could build a menorah for me if I wanted. I said, what? They said they thought they could use materials they had back in their shop in the basement at Rockefeller Center and create a large menorah for Bowling Green in a week. I asked them, had they ever seen a real menorah? They said no, but we know what they look like. So they told me if their boss, Philip Altime, then president of Forest Electric Company, would approve, they would do so and install it in time for Hanukkah, just a week away. Philip Altime said yes. I then told Tom and Andy I had just one request, that they use the same LEDs I had begun using on the Bowling Green Christmas tree for the first time the year before. and also used them for the lights for the menorah. So it would be the first large outdoor menorah anywhere in the world illuminated with LEDs. To my delight, as you are seeing in these photos from December 2005, Tom Cummings and Andy Carson arrived at Bowling Green with the new menorah just before Hanukkah on a Forest electric truck with a menorah I had never seen, which they made without any design plans except their own imagination. I was overwhelmed by the unique, elegant, and powerful menorah they had crafted from simple electrical parts they found in their shop. It could not have been better had I commissioned a leading designer and spent thousands of dollars in order to build a very special menorah for Bowling Green, where the first Hanukkah in America was celebrated in 1654. This is the menorah you are seeing now at Bowling Green for Hanukkah 2015, and it is my hope it will be seen at Bowling Green every Hanukkah for generations to come, becoming the most famous menorah in America.
I'm Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman of Union Temple of Brooklyn. I'm also the immediate past president of the New York Board of Rabbis. I'm here with our friends at Bowling Green Park to kindle this Chanukah, the menorah, on the fourth night of Chanukah. Chanukah is our great festival of light. We celebrate our freedom, certainly here in this place in New York, which represents the beginnings of New York Jewry and American Jewry. We found, as everyone should be finding in this country, a place of freedom, freedom of religious expression, freedom from any sort of oppression. We're living in difficult times. We're living in darkness in our world. And hopefully this festival of Chanukah will encourage us and buoy our spirits.
Get it started.
Hanukkah is a post-biblical festival. It emerged in the full light of history. That's what makes it actually a fascinating subject for study. This is a festival that was not decreed by God. It was not commanded at Sinai. It was invented by the leadership of the Jewish community at a particular time, long after the completion of the Torah, or the Hebrew Scripture. We know a great deal about the festival of Hanukkah because there is a lot of documentation from the 2nd century, before the Common Era. The setting for the festival is the coming of Greek culture to the Middle East. And Greek culture is transported from the Greek Isles to Palestine by Alexander the Great, whose armies overrun the East around 330 before the Common Era. At this point, what happens in the wake of Alexander the Great is the spreading of Greek culture throughout the Middle East. And that culture threatened the isolation and particularity of all the small nations in the Middle East, including the Jewish people who were living in Palestine They had returned several centuries before from the Babylonian exile, and Greek culture was enormously seductive. The efforts of the wealthy were resisted by a group of pietists known as Hasidim. They did not want to lower the barriers. They did not want to lose their religious identity, and they began to resist.
Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for coming this evening as we celebrate the Festival of Lights. 165 BCE, before the Common Era, the Jewish people, Yehuda HaMaccabee, a small group of people stood together to fight against oppression and religious freedom. It's a wonderful story, but it's a great story for us because it's a story of good against evil. It's a story about small against many. We live in a world today where we're fighting the same battle, good against evil. But there's great hope. I'll tell you why there's great hope. Because in the story of Chanukah, the few were the good and the majority were the evil. Today, the few are the ones who are the evil, and the majority are people like us who want freedom, who want to see everyone live a life where they could serve God any way they want. This is what Chanukah is about. It's about serving God in any way you want. It's about religious tolerance. And this is why we at B'nai Zion feel so honored tonight to be able to be here. Because indeed, we shed light in a world of darkness. If you go into our hospital in Haifa, you'll see a world where Muslims and Christians and Jews are all treated with a smiling face. The light of Chanukah shines. If you go into Ahava village, you'll see children who unfortunately have to leave their homes because of darkness, because of evil. And we show them light, and we show them happiness, we show them sunshine. And that's what we celebrate in Ma'ale Adumim in a George Schaefer conservatory, where we take children who live in Israel, and you know what's going on in Israel today. And we could give them a world-class music education where they could travel and come to Carnegie Hall. This is what we do at B'nai Zion. We are indeed the embodiment of what Chanukah is about. So tonight, I ask all of you tonight, we rededicate ourselves to the battle of good against evil. And God willing, we will prevail as we did in the year 165 BCE. We will prevail in the year 2015. And indeed, the spirit of Chanukah will prevail in the Jewish people and American people forever. Thank you so much.
Museum members and staff for being here, and thank you everybody. First of all, Jessica, thank you for the good work you do downtown and make it a very special place where we have a wonderful home. And Arthur, thank you very much for providing us here today and all you've done for Bowling Green and B'nai Zion. You're a special organization that does for people who cannot speak for themselves. So thank you very much. Anyhow, I think this is a very important year. We've got another year coming up, another 2016. Just want to wish everybody a happy holiday season, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and now we'd like to menorah. Thank you.
Now we're going to sing my old story.
Great honor to be with Controller Tom DiNapoli because he embodies the ecumenical spirit that is so important for all of us. He's very proud of who he is as a Catholic. At the same time, he also is a Catholic with a small c, meaning universal. He enables all people to stand together, different faiths, one family. He reminds us each and every day that one and one can equal one when people who are different share a wonderful spirit. So it's always a privilege to stand next to him and to have him here, this historic place where the Jews first arrived when they came to America. That means even more to us because he is one who welcomes people. Had he been alive during that period, he would have been the first down here as well to greet them.
Controller Tom DiNapoli, very pleased to be downtown, part of the Hanukkah celebration. It's a wonderful holiday, the victory of light over darkness, and a very inspiring story that is not only important to the Jewish community, but really to all New Yorkers, all Americans, people all across the globe. So at this time of great challenge in our world, let us light another menorah candle to show we continue to have that faith. Good will triumph over evil, light will triumph over darkness.
You know what
So the story of the Maccabean uprising ends, I think, with two significant developments. The first is the election of a high priest as well as a popular leader. That is Simon, the fifth and last son of Mattathias. The second radical innovation that takes place is that the family of Mattathias now declares the victory over the Seleucids and the rededication of the temple as a national holiday. They assert that they have the authority to add a festival to the calendar, a festival that is not mandated by the Torah, that is not the word of God, but is in fact the celebration of a military victory over an oppressor. So the Maccabees are not only instituting a new festival, which is post-biblical, but they're celebrating a military victory. Rabbinic literature, particularly the Talmud, does not know very much about Mattathias and the military victory. In fact, it knows nothing. The Talmud asks, what is Hanukkah anyway? And then it develops this story that Hanukkah came about because when the temple was taken back from the Syrians, they could not begin the sacrificial system anew because there was no oil, no consecrated oil, no oil that had not been polluted. They searched and they found a small container of oil. It appeared to be no more than a day's worth. In fact, it lasted for 8 days. That is why the festival is celebrated for 8 days. After 8 days, new consecrated olive oil could be produced. So the Talmud in this tale does not stress the military side, but the providential side. Hanukkah was an example of divine concern, and it was expressed through the miracle of oil, which lasted for 8 days instead of 1.
This is Arthur Piccolo. It is the last night of Hanukkah 2015, Sunday evening, December 13th. This night, unlike the first 6 nights of Hanukkah, I am here alone in Bowling Green to light the final candle. I want to believe, I want to hope, I am even confident that this will be the last time ever, for generations to come, that only one person, any night of Hanukkah, at Bowling Green, where the first Jews ever to set foot in North America arrived here, right here, where I'm standing, in September 1654, and in 1654 celebrated the very first Hanukkah in America. Beginning next year, 2016, and for every year thereafter. My belief, my hope, what I am confident about is that every night of the 8-night festival of Hanukkah, we will fill this park and increasingly the streets surrounding Bowling Green in celebration of the most sacred, the most important, the most meaningful place in all of America to celebrate Hanukkah. The first night, the second night, the third night, the fourth night, the center candle, the fifth night, the sixth night, the seventh night, and soon the final candle, the 8th night of Hanukkah at Bowling Green.
Yaba bim bam 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 hanerot alalu anachnu madlikin al hanisim ve al haniflaot ve al hamilchamot she'asita lavoteinu bayamim ohem bazman hazeh al yedei kohanecha Kohanecha HaKadoshim v'choshmonat yemei Chanukah v'choshmonat yemei Chanukah hanerot halalu hanerot halalu kodeshem להשתמש בהם אלא לראותם בלבד כדי להודות ולהלל לשמך הגדול הניסיך והנפלאותיך ועל ישועתך יבא bim bam 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 yaba bim bam 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 yaba bim bam bim bam bim bam bim bam bim bam bim bam bim mi yemalel borot Yisrael otan mi yimne hem bechodor yakum hagibor goel ha'am mi yemalel borot Yisrael otan mi yimne hem bechodor yakum hagibor goel ha'am shema bayamim ahem bazman hazeh makabi Moshiach ufodeh uviyameinu kol am Yisrael yitached yakum v'yigael mi yemalel vorot Yisrael otan mi yimne hein bechodor yakum hagibor goel ha'am